passion that I have is in growing a business that I can be proud of, that creates resources for me so I can enjoy my personal passions even more. Imagine that doctor who owns a donut shop and the baker calls in drunk at 4 a.m. Well, guess who's baking donuts? The doctor. He doesn't want to bake donuts.
So I'm sure overseeing the sales and marketing side of it, you hear all the time from people who may say, I really want to do something that I'm passionate about. I have a different perspective on that whole idea when it comes to starting a business, especially if you're still in the corporate world. But
As do I.
what's your perspective on that?
I absolutely do. I actually wrote an article about this very subject. Um, and at the time with the baseball school, it was all about passion. But what I learned as an accountant is that way too many people get into a business driven by their personal passion and they don't consider that it's a good business model. Now, that wasn't the case with the baseball school, it actually was. But there's a lot of people that get into a business they really shouldn't be in because they are a good cook, so they get into a restaurant, or they dress well, so they get into a retail shop, or they like sports, so they get into a sports business. Well, that's no good if there's not a good business model, because now all of a sudden, not only do you not have a good business that's going to succeed, you kind of ruin your own passion because it goes down the drain because it doesn't work. So my article that I wrote, and I think it's based on what you're saying, is the passion that I have is in growing a business that I can be proud of, that creates resources for me so I can enjoy my personal passions even more. I think that's what should drive people. And I am certainly not passionate about debits and credits when I was in the accounting world. I just wasn't. But I built a business to allow me to do the things that I'm doing now and enjoy the other things that I do on a personal level. I believe that's what should drive people, and they should look beyond their personal passions to the business model that's in front of them.
Yeah, that's such a great insight. I think you and I overall had the same overline perspective and thought behind it, because that's the same thing that I say. You mentioned that, well, if it doesn't work, it kind of kills your passion, right? And it's like something that you're passionate about, that you enjoy doing it for the love of it. Well, if all of a sudden it has to pay your bills and it's not working, all of this negative emotion gets tied to now that thing.
That's absolutely right. And work, if you talk to Major League Baseball players or National Hockey League players or NFL players, you'll find that the passion that drove them to get there is different than what they experience as they've been a experienced pro. That it's now a job. And it's funny, when you hear people talk about that and you're a driven athletic person, but they talk about it as a job, it's because it is a job to them, you know? It's not to say that that passion is completely gone, but it affects you when you're working at it every single day, trying to create a future for yourself and your family versus enjoying it. So people make so many mistakes. And really it's why we crafted our business the way we have, because there's so many business people that I've seen through my past that have gotten into the wrong business because they thought it was sexy, or they saw the sign on the road and they just hated it after a few months even, or a couple of years. Because imagine that doctor who owns a donut shop and the baker calls in drunk at 4 a.m. Well, guess who's baking donuts? The doctor. He doesn't want to bake donuts. And you could extend that to a lot of different models. So in our case, business people are who we're looking for, because we have a business. That was a lot of businesses, but you know what I mean.
If you enjoyed this short clip from the podcast, you can check out another short clip right here. Or if you want to watch the full episode of this podcast, you can watch that here. And remember, knowledge is not power. It's applied knowledge that's power. Take care. Have a great rest of your day.